if you're thinking about solar, one of the first questions you're probably asking yourself is, what type of solar panel should I get? So we're going to do a deep dive on solar panel technology. And the way I typically look at solar panel technology is in 5 different ways. I look at the efficiency of the panel, the warranty, who manufactured it, how it performs, and its aesthetics. So let's dive in. To start, when you're looking at a solar panel's efficiency, it's important to understand kind of where we've come from. Meaning, back in the day, when solar panels were first kind of brought to market, they were very inefficient. 6%, in fact. So a solar panel that was the same size as a traditional solar panel today, which on average is about 65 inches by 40 inches, would be about 110 watts. Now, if you look about 10 years ago, where the industry was pretty well developed, but nowhere near as developed as they are today, in 2012, you'd see the panels really increased efficiency to about 15%. That would mean the same sized solar panel would be 270 watts. So if you look to 2022, the standard today is closer to about 400 watts. And we're pushing about 23% efficiency when you have a 400 watt panel at that specification and size. So it's important to understand that efficiency has increased over time, and you want to be aware of efficiency when you're choosing your solar panel. Now I'm going to talk in the next slide more about when efficiency matters most, but there's an important disclosure here that's important to kind of wrap your head around. So I talked about solar panels that were 65 inches by 40 inches. There are also solar panels that are not that standard size. For example, a 72 cell solar panel, which historically was used for commercial installations, is also used for residential installations today. So it's the same width, but it's a taller solar panel. And that's tricky because although that solar panel may have a rating of 400 watts, the efficiency could be much lower, 4 or 5% lower than a 400 watt solar panel that's only 65 by 40. So you want to be very aware of not just the size of the solar panel and the nameplate of how many watts you're getting, but how large that solar panel is. And ultimately, that efficiency number is going to be a way to compare apples to apples. You're looking at the actual efficiency number on the spec sheet, which I'll show you an example spec sheet in a couple minutes. Okay, cool. So now that you know about efficiency, you may ask, like, what does that mean to me? Well, what matters is really how much roof space you have. So if you figure the roof at the top here of the image, that is a really ideal solar roof. Southeast facing, you can fit a ton of solar on that roof. Believe it or not, low efficiency is okay for that roof. Space isn't at a premium. You don't have to pay for the most efficient solar panel there. You may actually get a better return on your investment by using more of that square footage and going with a low efficiency solar panel or lower efficiency solar panel. Now, if you have the roof below that, space is super limited. The majority of the roof is north facing. You're really kind of limited in terms of the number of solar panels you can get up there. In that case, you're going to want to maximize the efficiency of your solar panel, right? If you have a postage stamp to put solar panels on, you're going to want to make sure you get the maximum output from that postage stamp. So when it comes to solar panels today, you're looking at about 350 watts to 420 watts when it comes to a standard module as the range. That meaning you're not going to get most likely a solar panel that's lower than 350 watts in the market today. Probably not going to push more than 420. So even when we talk about efficiency, there's not that much of a dramatic range. We're talking about a 15% deviation between the lowest efficiency module and the highest efficiency module you're going to get in the market. So that being said, you still want to kind of maximize the benefit of your roof if you have extra space by going with a more cost-effective panel in most cases, or maximize the square footage, the roof real estate you have, by going with a high efficiency panel if you have a small amount of space. Now, this of course applies to not just roof square footage, but roof quality, right? So if the roof is very, very shaded and you only have a small area of the roof that is great for solar access, then you're going to want to go with a higher efficiency module. Now again, watch out for the 72 cell modules. For a 72 cell module, a 400 watt rating is actually low. Comparatively, it's closer to a 350 watt 60 cell module. For 80 watt module in 72 cell is going to be a higher efficiency. Now I mentioned I'd open up a spec sheet and show you real quick on every spec sheet for a solar panel that you can basically say, what kind of solar panel am I getting? You can scroll down and you can see a panel efficiency number, right? So you can see it right here, 400 watts. In this case is 21.6. This module is a little bit larger than, it's actually 71 inches tall by 38 inches wide. So if you look at square footage wise, it's a little larger than the example I gave. But this is a way to compare apples to apples. I'll show you one more. This is a Q cell example. You can see 400 watt module is efficiency of 20.4. So this is an even bigger module, meaning the efficiency is lower even though the module rating is the same. Why? It has to do with the size of the module. If the size is larger, it's going to take up more space and you're going to be able to get less solar panels theoretically on your roof. If you love nerding out on solar technology and home energy stuff, feel free to click the subscribe button below so you'll get access to the upcoming free videos I'll be posting. So we talked about efficiency. Now I want to talk about solar panel warranty. So warranty when it comes to solar panels is primarily focused on what's called power output. So power output basically means that your solar panel has a day one output that it can produce a certain wattage. We talked about that a little bit when we talked about efficiency. And over time, that solar panel will degrade in terms of output. If you didn't know this, it's important to understand that degradation is normal for every solar panel. It's just how much that solar panel degrades is going to be a measure of how well that solar panel will produce energy over time. So power output warranties are actually really, really good. They're typically 25 years, in some cases up to 30 years. And you're looking at anywhere between 80% on the low side and 92, 93% on the high side. So what does that mean? That means that 25 years from now, the manufacturer is warranting and guaranteeing that your solar panel will produce 92% of what it produces in year one. If you think about like a computer, what manufacturer is going to give a warranty that 25 years from now is going to perform 92% as well as the day you bought it? So it's a great, great warranty. And you want to understand how it works, which means that usually there's a little bit of a drop off, like year one, it goes 2 or 3% at the beginning. And in every subsequent year, you can lose a little bit, 0.03, 0.3, so 30 points, like 0.3% a year, or 0.4% per year, something in that range, if you're looking at that high performance 92%. So this is the most important aspect of your warranty. It's the power output warranty. And I threw a few examples up here in this table to show you comparisons between some popular brands. Okay, product warranty is also part of your warranty evaluation. Product warranty is actually separate from the power output warranty. So the power output warranty just guarantees how much energy the solar panel will produce in the future. The product warranty guarantees how well it will actually operate, meaning, will the rails delaminate from the glass? Will the glass kind of fog up and look bad? Will there be some other product defect, right? And some solar manufacturers provide a 10-year warranty for products. Some provide 12. The best solar panels out there are always going to have a product warranty that matches their power output warranty. So they have a 25-year product warranty, 25-year product power output warranty. Okay, so the next thing I'd consider when you're thinking about your warranty for your solar panels is when they replace them or warranty them? Are they including the cost to ship those solar panels? And then are they even including the labor cost, right? Are they willing to reimburse an installer? Let's say your installer went out of business 12 years from now, and year 17, your solar panel had issues. Will they pay that installer for their labor? And so those are all the things to consider when you're evaluating a warranty for a solar panel. So obviously, the next most important thing is, okay, if I have a warranty, who's behind that warranty? And that's going to be the manufacturer. And so when I look at manufacturers, I'm looking at bankability, right? How much cash they have in the bank, how profitable are they, how long have they been in the business? And the last evaluation criteria is, are they diversified or exclusive, right? If they're a diversified company, it would be an example like Panasonic. They don't just manufacture solar panels, they also manufacture, TVs, and I think they manufacture electronic devices and all types of different technology. Or is it a solar focused company, an exclusive company that just manufactures solar panels? There's actually arguments for each side here. The argument for something like a Panasonic, where they're so diversified, is, look, you always have a company that's going to be around, financially strong. It's a brand name, it's well known, and that's a great choice on that level. There are other companies like REC Solar that are really, really focused on solar. The argument to go with a company like REC that's focused on solar, that's exclusive, is they got all their eggs in this basket. This is their focus. This is their expertise. They're never going to kind of peel off their solar division as part of a business, evolution or a business transition, right? You can really count on that company being there a long time. So I don't actually have a preference. I mostly focus on time in business, bankability, and the other characteristics, but it is important to understand who your manufacturer is. Here's a table of a handful of manufacturers that are pretty well regarded. When we talk about bankability, tier 1 is a financial criteria or financial evaluation that the I think it's the insurance and stock market will evaluate and rate a company as a tier 1 solar manufacturer if they have the right kind of financial performa to show that they're going to be in business a long time. Funny story, when solar panels were first becoming more and more popular, when the industry was growing and new companies were coming online very, very quickly, the utilities would want to do these big solar projects, and great, you got a new solar panel that's a great value and maybe a great price, but they needed to be certain that the solar panel would be around in the future and that the company would honor their warranty. So those companies would actually take hundreds of millions of dollars, place them inside in a special warranty fund to cover their warranties and to provide confidence to first investors. So all of these companies actually have warranty funds today, varying based on their failure rates to cover any long-term issues that show up with the solar panels. Okay, good. So that's manufacturers. I now want to talk about the performance of the solar panel. Now, we already talked about the warranty. The warranty is a kind of indicator for degradation when it comes to power output. So if you think about the output of your solar panel over time, how fast it degrades is going to impact the overall performance. Now, performance is different than efficiency. Efficiency is how many watts you're getting in a square foot. Performance relates to how many kilowatt hours you get from every watt. So what does that mean? That means how much energy you're getting from each watt of power, right? Remember, when we talked about power and energy, we talked about the difference between instantaneous power and energy, which is power over time. So solar panels have their instantaneous rating, but they also produce energy over time. And the energy over time is actually what's going to offset your energy bill. So you want to make sure that not just the initial output of the solar panel is awesome, but that its performance is great in different scenarios over time in different environments. And that's what we're talking about here. So I mentioned degradation. That's a big one. The other one that's very important is heat coefficient. So solar panels actually reduce output in higher temperatures. Just like any electronic device, they work better when it's cooler, right? Electronic devices don't work great in high heat environments. So solar panels reduce output. That being said, some reduce output much lower than other panels. So if you live in the desert, if you live in, Arizona or, Eastern Southern California, and it's very, very hot in the summertime, this is going to be a more important specification to pay attention to. And it's going to be on the spec sheet, just like the other specifications we talked about, which is the temperature coefficient. How much does it lose as a percentage of power? So in this case, this loses for every degree Fahrenheit, right? This loses 0.34% of its output. So the lower the number, it's like a golf score, the lower the number there, the better, right? We want to lose as little power as possible when you go above kind of the tested temperature level. Okay, now I want to talk about low light performance. Some panels have stacks of different type of semiconductors to maximize production in more kind of foggy environments, in environments where the angle of the light to the solar panel is lower, right? So performance does relate to low light production. Shade tolerance is one. Solar panels are wired in such a way that if one of the cells is covered, sometimes it will reduce the output of other cells around them. So some solar panels have bypasses. If you've ever seen a panel like this Q cell, I think this Q cell is a good example. Oh no, yeah, you can see a line between them. This has a bypass so that if anything happens on the top half of the solar panel, it's a little hard to see because this is an all black panel, but you can see it's kind of separated. If anything happens in the top half of the panel, the bottom half will still perform at its best output. It's actually usually more likely that something shades the bottom half, right? Kind of early in the morning, the sun comes up and maybe it doesn't get as high as you want it to, and so there's some shade thrown on the bottom half, and you're still getting the maximum output from the top. There's no specific specification to kind of evaluate shade tolerance, but it is a feature of the solar panel that you can be aware of. Frame strength, right? Some solar panels have cross kind of connections that will keep the frame more rigid. If you're in a high snow environment, you may want to consider that as a benefit. And the last thing is, is there appropriate water drainage? You may say, well, why do I care about water drainage when it comes to the solar panel? It actually impacts performance, because if the water pools at the bottom of the solar panel and then dries, you may get some limescale or some basically sediment on there, which will block the light from getting to the solar panels and reduce your output. Ultimately, what you're evaluating is the difference between standard test conditions and nominal operating temperature test conditions. So standard test conditions, I'll show it to you on the spec sheet again, is what your solar panel is rated. So when you get a 400 watt solar panel, that means that's the standard test conditions. What does that mean? Well, that means when they tested it in a laboratory at the perfect temperature, at 1,000 watts per meter squared light output, which is like the sun, like with no obstructions, perfect angle, everything perfect, that's going to be the rating of that solar panel. When they test it at more nominal output, right, more normal conditions, right, which is NMOT, which I showed you in a second, this 400 watt solar panel only produces 305 watts. So this is the difference between standard test conditions and nominal operating temperature test conditions. They're a different specification. This is more real world. NMOT is more close to what you're going to be looking at with your spec sheet. Now, where does this come into play? If I'm looking at an REC module, which is considered one of the top modules, and I look at the NMOT, it's actually 305 in relationship to 400. Now, if I look at the Q cell that I showed you in a second, which is still a great panel, but is considered a little less high-end than the REC, and I look at their 400 watt module, their NMOT is only 300, right? So it's 5 watts lower in the kind of real world output than this 400 watt module. So standard test conditions versus nominal operating temperature will really be an indicative measurement of how well this panel is going to perform. So the last one that's very important is aesthetics. So aesthetics, right, have really evolved over time. So if you look at a solar panel from back I don't know, 20 years ago, most of them had a silver frame and blue cells. Not terrible, but not great, right? So what happened is they started to evolve. They started to make the frame itself black, right? Which improved the aesthetics, especially from an angle. And then the next evolution was they actually made the cells themselves black with a white backsheet. And then finally, they actually changed the backsheet to be black. And we call this an all black solar panel. So if you imagine your roof, which one do you think would look the most aesthetic? In my perspective, an all black solar panel is going to look very clean. It's actually going to add to the aesthetics of a roof if installed in a symmetric and clean way. That being said, if your house is facing north, right, the front door is facing north, and your roof is facing south, and nobody can really see the south facing roof from the street or from most angles, then aesthetics probably don't matter to you that much. But if your house is facing south and you want to maximize that south roof space, aesthetics are going to be super important. So what I found is by evaluating your solar panel based on those 5 criteria: efficiency, warranty, manufacturer, performance, and aesthetics, you're going to have a very, very broad awareness of how your solar panel is going to perform in your environment and going to work for your home. So take those into account when you're choosing the right solar panel for your home, and you're going to be absolutely happy with the end result. If you totally love this home energy stuff, just click the subscribe button below so you'll continue to get more great free content.